It was Higgins who planned and built the first American-designed motor torpedo boats. Look at them, as tough as veteran leathernecks. They're officially credited with more than 1,000 kills, 500,000 tons of enemy shipping delivered to Davy Jones. For 5 years, they fought without let-up, bucking the angry waters of the Arctic Ocean, the English Channel, the North Sea, battling Atlantic storms and Pacific typhoons.
PT boats are patrol torpedo boats. They're meant to run in fast and hard, shoot torpedoes at larger craft, and escape with great speed. This PT boat we brought from Galveston, originally built here in New Orleans by Higgins, shipped to the Mediterranean, from the Mediterranean back to New York at the end of the war, sold as surplus, used as a tour boat and then as a work boat in the Chesapeake, eventually sold down to Galveston and acquired from them. We have a number of volunteers who've worked on our Higgins projects, who are working again on the restoration of this boat. One of the major accomplishments they've made was the extension of the boat to its original length.
Virtually everything has to be remanufactured. We're using the same materials as close as possible as was used originally. We are trying to keep the boat 100 years from now, when somebody comes and looks at the boat, it will be as close to what would have come out of the Higgins factory as we can possibly make it. On the weekdays now, we average 5-6 fellows here. On Saturdays, I can have anywhere between 20, 30, 40 men and women. It is fun, it's dirty, it's hard work. We look so forward to Saturdays, and we're supposed to start at 9, they start showing up at 7. We're supposed to stop at 3. At 4 o'clock, I kick them out, and they still don't want to leave. So it's.
No, I'm a lawyer in Metairie, and I just volunteer on the weekends.
I'm a graduate student at UNO, pursuing a master's in history.
I'm a naval architect.
I own a tow company, so it's just my grandfather was a Higgins worker.
Well, I grew up around the Higgins plant. And my dad, used to take me by there, and I used to go down to the Industrial Canal and had a lot of interest in the Higgins boats and so forth. And I just, in honor of family members who served in World War II, I just decided to get involved.
In the warehouse, there's a couple different areas where most of the work happens. Wood shop is where we process all the raw lumber, turn it in for parts for the boat. But the other important area is plans table. Anyone that's making a decision or going through everything gathers at the plans table. That's where they do a lot of their work, but then they spend a lot of time in the boat. Second most important area is actually inside the boat, because at this point we're fitting a lot of there's stiffeners, half bulkheads, aluminum plates, gussets, all that goes in there because there's a lot of tension in there because of the engines. That's where they grab a hold of water and push into the boat.
It's probably upsized. Look at it. I think it comes out back here. Not look. It goes up. That's the top of it where it turns, and that's where it goes out. It's 2 separate pipes.
What's interesting really is that we're finding that the as-built vessel deviated quite a bit from the design. Not surprising. I mean, that happens all the time in shipbuilding today. You design something, you're in the field, you say, hey, there's a better way of doing it, or there's some deviations that the experts look at in the field and just make the change. And well, there was a little war going on at the time, so you didn't have time to redline the drawings.
This is a deck rib. That's the top side. The ribs that go across, and then the deck is bolted down to this rib. You can see there's 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces in each rib. We put it on a frame and bend it right here. See the frame? Okay. And now I'm priming it. All the wood goes into the boat is primed prior to being installed.
So far, most everything I've used is 1/4-inch carriage bolts, various lengths, so the whole thing's screwed together with a 7/16 wrench. One of the smaller wrenches in your toolbox. And they're just all over, multiples of 5, 8, and 10.
This is one of the 3 1,500 horsepower Packard engines. 1,500 horsepower, 2,500 cubic inch engines, supercharged. We could take one apart, put it back together in 6 to 8 weeks if we had new parts. But every part you take off of it, you have to recondition it, you know, build it back up to specs, and if you can't find it, you have to make it. So
I enjoy it. I learn a lot. I enjoy being with the fellows because there's a lot of guys that are working on the project that have been on the project from day one.
I work with a great bunch of people. I mean, there's never a cross word with anybody. Everybody's always laughing.
Everybody lends a hand wherever it's needed.
We do nothing but show up and laugh, and you learn things from them. There's remarkably smart, remarkably talented people here, remarkably funny people. And that's really, I think, why everyone keeps coming back, because I have such a great time on Saturdays.
We know certain that it had 3 kills. There was a lot of very rough fighting, and it was every night, virtually every night they were out at it.
They don't have many of these boats around, and to be able to be part of it is really something.
Some people don't care about history, some people don't care about military history or what the Second World War was or anything like that, but the important thing is that there's a group of people getting together, doing something that they see should be preserved. I think it's very important to preserve this section of the war, the role that PTs serve, what they represent, more than just PT boats, they represent servicemen. And what happens at the pavilion is great. People caring for things, devoting their time, because it means some more if someone's making a sacrifice to actually do the work.
To me, it's also a way to remember the men who served on these. And not only the men who served on these, but the local New Orleanians who helped build them. And I think that's part of the attraction, is that this boat has somehow come home because it was built here in New Orleans. And so it's a really interesting story of, you know, the production, wartime service, and then what it did for the decades in between, and then how it ended up back here, you know, in New Orleans, where it was built by Higgins to start with. So,
but on that day, when we're running up and down Lake Pontchartrain, the shore there, I'm sure, will just be packed with New Orleaners, people who know the Higgins story and are being told or just learning about it. And it's going to be a very proud moment for the city.